Hi friends, you are back with me, Professor Girish Kukreja. Yeah, so in our earlier lectures, we have been talking about how the metabolism of a typical cell needs to be regulated, right? Whenever we are talking about metabolism, the main players of the metabolism are the enzymes. And whenever you want to what you call as control this particular metabolism, because there will be events in the cell where you will have to stop a particular pathway, there will be events in a cell where you have to slow down a particular pathway, there would be events in a cell where you would like to increase the rate of synthesis of a particular product. So minute to minute, second to second, there needs to be a control on this particular metabolism. The cell tries to see and tries to have control over the metabolism of the entire cell by virtue of or by use or by controlling the main players of the metabolism, that is your enzymes. Now there are different ways and means by which the cell does this. Like it does this by enzyme compartmentalization, it does this by having covalently regulated enzyme, it does this by having allosteric enzyme, it can do this by having multi-enzyme complexes, many ways. The one way which we will be discussing today is your feedback inhibition. Yeah. So rather feedback inhibition comes in a rather bigger category, broader category called as feedback mechanisms. Now there are two ways like these feedback mechanisms work. One is what is called as a feedback repression. Like when you are working at the DNA level, like if you do not want the activity of a particular enzyme and you stop the synthesis of the enzyme at the DNA level, like you stop its transcription, you stop its translation, so now there would be synthesis of the enzyme and neither there would be an enzyme in the entire pathway which uses that particular enzyme will be halted. So when you are working directly at the DNA level, that is what is called as a feedback repression, where you are controlling the transcription, controlling the translation. When you are actually working at the level of the enzyme, we call it as what is called as a feedback inhibition. Now name itself suggests like a feedback inhibition is where when you are what you call as having a particular pathway which is having a series of sequential steps leading to its synthesis. And when you encounter a situation inside the cell when this particular product is in excess, you go and stop this particular pathway. Now a simple thing is like where you will go and stop the particular pathway, probably at the very first place wherein there is the first reaction, where is the first precursor is being converted into a intermediate. There if you stop the pathway, it would be more economical to control the entire pathway. To get a more clear idea, like if you talk about this particular reaction sequence where we are leading to the formation of product, so where your A is getting converted to B, B to C, C to D, D to E, the players are here. These are your enzymes which are actually interconverting these what you call as your intermediates. You have a situation in the cell where the product P is in less concentration. So when the product P is in less concentration, the entire pathway will go on smoothly and your P will go on building up. Now after some time what will happen is that this particular P will accumulate inside the cell. What would be the threshold? Like some things are required in less quantity, some things are required in a larger quantity. So whatever would be the threshold which you have decided, you don't decide anything, the cell must have decided. If that crosses this threshold, then there is no use actually of entire pathway to go on. It would expend a lot of energy. So in that case, this particular P, the product of this pathway, it will go and inhibit the first enzyme of the sequence. So if it goes and stops this first enzyme on the sequence, the entire sequence, it comes to a halt. And for the time being, the synthesis of P would be halted. Why? Because I have enough and a sufficient amount of P. You know, when you are making chapatis at home, if you have enough amount of chapatis at home, then if someone goes and tells someone in the kitchen that yes, the chapatis are enough, the entire process of making the chapati will be halted. That is what is required, otherwise those chapatis will be wasted. So some sort of that, right? So whenever this product is more, it will go and stop this enzyme. Yes, but if then you have 4 people coming in and eating the chapatis and now the chapati level goes down, then all the people are sitting there in the kitchen and they will start rolling the chapatis and baking the chapatis again, and then again the synthesis of P can take place, again you can make the chapatis, right? So this is how it happens. So simple feedback inhibition is when the end product of the sequential pathway goes and inhibits the first enzyme of the pathway and stops this entire reaction. That is what is called as your feedback inhibition, right? So this is simple to understand when it is a simple unbranched kind of a pathway. Things becomes more complicated when you have like this kind of a sequence, right? Things are not simple, like things are very complicated. not complicated actually, life is quite simple, but we make it complicated most of the times. Similar is this, like if you are like studying it in parts, then things are easy. Once you understand the easy one, this is easier to understand. Anyways, so talking about this particular reaction sequence now, so isme kya ho raha hai, I mean, what is happening here is like you have a pathway which is common, like A is getting converted to B, B is getting converted to C. Now C, it acts as a common intermediate for synthesis of two products like P1 and P2. Yeah, so P1 and P2 are two different products. Like in our class we had two Pallavis, so we used to call one Pallavi as P1 and other as P2. This is not Pallavi, but you know, these are some products, like they may be two amino acids, right? So you have two amino acids here, you have one amino acid being synthesized here, you have another amino acids being synthesized here, and this entire thing, it branches out from this particular C. Now say for example, if we use the similar logic which was used here, now if I use the same logic here, okay, once the end product is in excess, it will stop the first what you call as reaction sequence. Now if this P1 goes and stops this A, there would be no synthesis of C, right? So synthesis of P1 will be halted, this is what I wanted. But at the same time, synthesis of P2 will also be halted because this is a common pathway. Cell probably will have an excess amount of P1 but still is starving for P2, so it will die because it does not have enough amount of P2. Similar thing can happen in the reverse way. Like if you have enough amount of P2, if the threshold of P2 is somewhat less, you reach the peak of P2 very early. This P2, if it goes and inhibits the first enzyme, this entire sequence will be halted, and once this entire sequence is halted, you will not synthesize P1. Synthesis of one is affecting the other. We live in a world where everyone wants their own space. You don't want, like, if you are having an issue, you should create issue in others' life. So if P1 is being synthesized more, P2 says, what the hell I have to do? I still need to be synthesized. If P2 is synthesized more, P1 will say, like, what the hell I have to do with you? I want to be synthesized, right? So they don't want to interfere with each other, right? So then they come to a midway, like P1 says, then what I'll do is, I'll go and inhibit my branch point. I will not affect this pathway which is common to us. I'll go and stop this C. So now if you look at the sequence now, if P1 is in excess, right, whatever P1 you had decided, you want this much of P1, if that much is there, it is in excess, it will go and stop this C. Now this C is stopped. Now what will happen is A will go to C, C will go to P2. All your A is now diverted to your P2, logical, because I still wanted P2, but I had already enough of P1, right? Now if I have excess of P2, it doesn't bother P1, it goes and inhibits F, which is actually the branch point from C. So if P2 is in excess, it stops its own synthesis. So P2 is controlling this F and P1 is controlling this C. So excess of P1 is not affecting P2, neither is excess of P2 affecting the synthesis of P1. They are bothered with their own synthesis. P2 excess, stop its synthesis, divert. P1 excess, stop its synthesis, divert. This much is fine, matlab. But there would be a stage where now both are in excess. Like if I say that P1 threshold was less and now P1 went its peak and it stopped its synthesis, everything was diverted to P2. Now P2 synthesis is also there in excess. Now I have enough amount of P1 and P2. Now the question arises, what to do of this ABC? I don't want enough amount of this ABC also. Now I want this pathway also to be halted. This is the question now. Like how exactly we would what you call as control this particular reaction sequence in a branched pathway. So as I told, feedback inhibition in a simple unbranched pathway probably is similar, is easy to like understand and control. You had excess of P, you stopped the pathway. You have less of P, you start the pathway. Simple, right? But here the things become complicated. Now the question is, how am I going to control this particular reaction sequence? There are multiple ways the cell does it. The cell is quite intelligent. It has answers to all questions. Like in our life also we have a lot of problems. There are problems, then there are solutions. So let us wait for the solution. There are different ways, like you have isoenzyme control, you have what you call as your concerted feedback inhibition, you have cumulative feedback inhibition, you have a sequential feedback inhibition, which is actually solving out the problem of this branched pathway. So stay tuned with me, Professor Girish Kukreja, and in our next video, we'll be talking about these all kinds of feedback inhibitions which sort out the answer for controlling this section of a typical branched pathway. Thank you.